Welcome to episode 2 of Bay Area Unsolved. I'm Juliette Goodrich, and this is my producer, Stephanie John. And we're working on this series to really try to get some in-depth reporting on unsolved cases in the Bay Area. We're pretty passionate about this, and you first brought this to me.
Right, and we are starting with a case that has become known as the Pokemon Go murder. This was the killing of Calvin Riley.
That's right. Episode 1 kind of gives you the background and what happened, and now episode 2, we're actually going to give you the nitty-gritty of what the FBI is searching for this young man. Again, 10 years ago, it's going to be approaching 10 years, shot and killed at Aquatic Park, where a lot of people were walking around.
So many witnesses.
You would think they'd have more information, and so that's why we're just trying to push it out there. And so, listen to any little tidbit.
Right, and you spent a lot of time walking the crime scene with Cal's father.
Yeah, that's so hard to do, and so, I thank his parents for going back in time and doing this. So yeah, this is Calvin Riley's dad. He and I went back to that very location where his son was killed that one night, and we also go into the nitty-gritty of what the FBI is looking for, so take a listen. I can't imagine what must go through your mind.
Yeah, it's a lot. That night goes through my mind all the time. And August 6, 2016, and basically the horrific call, and showing up here, it's constantly goes through my mind and what possibly happened that night. Supposedly, the guy was waiting right in this area right here. They saw him walk. Calvin's friend had realized that there was a guy that was standing up on the hill right here. And then 2 minutes later, his friend turns around and Calvin's on the ground dead, shot in the back, which tells me that the guy was standing right here.
Was he walked on this side?
His friend was walking in front of him.
So his friend was in front?
In front, Calvin's behind, looking at his phone just like this.
Okay.
And obviously as they went up, he didn't get to the hill, he died right before the hill.
Where do you think they were eventually going to go over here, playing the game, right?
They were going to keep walking up. They actually parked down there, so they parked in the parking spot.
Okay.
At the beginning of Aquatic
Okay.
Park. Which is weird because they park there, and they walk all the way down here, and there's a guy waiting here. And then there's a getaway car up there, which that tells me someone was waiting there. I always thought someone was waiting there for him. So
that was walking in the very spot his son was killed, and he took the time to go over those moments.
Right.
And keep in mind, that was years ago.
Right, but he doesn't have the answer, and the person who really has to find the answer is the special agent in charge.
Yeah, the special agent. So we took a visit to the FBI, and they really opened up about what they're focusing on, and specifically a person of interest and a couple of other people as well. And they actually laid out some sketches for us. So we want to show that to you right now. Here you go. What is that like when you pick up a case, say a few years after it happened, and how do you move forward with that?
Yeah, it's a very heavy review of the case file. There's a lot of admin work done initially just to get myself up to speed. We have worked closely with Park Police both when we adopted the case and since. They've been very involved, and I've been able to consult with them just to make sure that I'm caught up to speed. So a lot of review, and then once I feel like I have good grasp on what's happened up until that date, then I kind of take off with my own investigative leads.
Why don't you tell me what you know, or what the line of action was when he was walking with his friend?
So Calvin and his friend had, like I said, kind of spent the night out on the town, just partaking in various activities. They went to eat, and they were going to go hang out at Fisherman's Wharf. There wasn't really a plan. There wasn't a set schedule. Pokemon Go did kind of drive their itinerary that evening. They walked along the promenade. There are unique Pokemon characters along the water, so I think that was kind of the intention. There was no interaction. There's no dispute. There is misinformation, about maybe a botched robbery. There was nothing along those lines. They were simply walking along the promenade, and Calvin was shot.
We have two sketches here, and tell me about where they played in this, particularly to, I guess you had witnesses give the information. How did this come about?
So the individual we've dubbed as sketch guy number 1, this individual was seen in a white vehicle, a white sedan, with a female who was blonde. That's all we know about the female passenger. Based on this individual's proximity to the homicide, to the shooting, we believe that this person could have some very valuable information. And if he can be identified, we would love if he could come forward and work with us and give us any additional information. Likewise, what's been dubbed as sketch guy number 2, he was developed again by another witness who observed him after the shooting occurred, and likewise may have some additional information that would be relevant to the case.
It's just one way in and one way out, correct?
Correct. So Van Ness Avenue essentially dead ends right at Aquatic Park and near the promenade where this occurred. So any vehicles that may or may not be involved would have had to, arrive and leave using the same route.
Okay, what vehicles are you looking at right now?
So again, being that it was a very populated area, there's quite a few. Of the most interest is a white Hyundai Sonata. That vehicle was seen arriving shortly before the shooting, and it was described as peeling out. Here, the tires were heard screeching. It actually almost struck pedestrians in the area, and it fled at a very high rate of speed. So that vehicle is obviously of most interest. Additionally, it's believed that an Audi A3 wagon may have arrived in tandem with that Hyundai Sonata. So those two vehicles are certainly of interest to us. We do also have some additional vehicles that are of interest to the investigation. If anybody was driving them or knows somebody who was driving them and may have frequented the park at the time, that information could be extremely valuable. Those two vehicles are a white Toyota Tacoma, a pickup truck, and a white BMW sedan.
So you just heard the FBI. I really got the feeling that they are inching closer to something. Did you feel that?
Yeah, and in fact, you'll remember Casey told us she's getting closer and closer to the shooter.
I know. I kind of wanted to know what that meant, and I felt like I could see it, the wheels turning, that there's something. But they still need more information, and they know that a lot of people were in that area that night. People knew about this Pokemon Go murder, about Cal being killed, and it wasn't necessarily midnight. It was dusk.
Right.
And this is a very busy area.
Right.
So I guess our message is, and the FBI's message and his family's message is, even if you don't think the most minor thing would help, it would.
Anything, yeah. And coming up, was it meant to be Calvin that night?
Yeah, we, had to ask that question to the family. Do you think he was targeted? Do you think someone, was out to get him? And we're going to find that out in episode 3. So take a look at that.